Myoho Renge Kyo Nam. Myoho Renge Kyo Nam. Myoho Renge Kyo. Hi everyone. Hello boys and girls. I think it's important to enjoy this life, short and sweet as it is. So, I'm in a playful mood. This next Go Show, which I didn't take the time to pre-read. It's only really about a page long, so it won't take long. Followed by the persecution at Tatsunokuchi, which should be pretty profound. This one is Letter from Echi. The government's persecution of me has clearly demonstrated my resolute mind of determination in the Lotus Sutra. There is no doubt that the moon wanes and waxes, and that the tides ebb and flow. In my case, too, since punishment has already occurred, benefit must be forthcoming. What is there to lament? Of course, if you've been studying Buddhism, you know that since its outset, 2,600 or more years ago, Buddhism has been always kind of a lightning rod of truth that gets received poorly by those who like to control others. That's the human condition, right? We like to get our way. So authoritarianism arises constantly, in this competition to be superior and so forth. So somebody comes along and says, look, it's obvious if you just observe things, this is how things work, are often going to uncover the mess that exists in their time. And so Shakyamuni Buddha himself, in several sutras, mentioned, although he didn't spend a lot of time on it, he did refer to, and there are commentaries outside of Shakyamuni's sermons that describe attacks and throwings of stones and sticks and what have you. He was introducing things that were confronting people's delusions. And to this day, humans kind of don't like that. So this is what he's referring to. He's not saying that, you have to suffer in order to be happy. That's religion. That's not what he's referring to. Is that because I'm upholding the truth, it's obvious that I'm going to draw this. It's kind of like drawing poison out of a wound, So at the hour of the cock, 5 to 7 p.m., on the 12th day, I incurred the wrath of the government authorities. Placed in the custody of the Lord Musashi, I left Kamakura at the hour of the ox, 1 to 3 a.m., on the 13th day for exile in the province of Sado. If we can't shut him up, let's just get rid of him. Let's put him somewhere where we don't have to deal with him and he can't communicate with anyone. Yeah, that hasn't changed much, has it? At present, I am in a place called Echi, which is the domain of Homa, under the supervision of a person called Umataro, a deputy of Homa Rokuro Simon Nojo of Echi. I will probably be staying here for 4 or 5 days. Your grief is understandable. So obviously he's responding to one of his students who's very unhappy that his teacher is being carried away, right? But because I have been certain from the beginning that this would occur, I myself do not grieve. Rather, I regret that I have yet to be beheaded. Had I been decapitated on account of the Lotus Sutra in a past existence, or in the past, I would not have been born as such a lowly person in this life. Once again, we see the device of past lives used to emphasize the balance of life-affirming acts with those of, non-life-affirming acts, and in this case especially to the propagation and respect of proper Buddhist practice. By undergoing repeated persecutions, just as is noted in the sutra, when it says, quote, again and again we will be banished, end quote, I can erase the grave offenses of my past and for the first time attain Buddhahood. I therefore engage these difficult practices of my own accord. So, again, we're confronted with the device, the expedient means, the skillful devices. This isn't meant as a guide to Buddhist practice in this letter. He's writing to a student who's upset and afraid. And so he's not suggesting that suffering leads to enlightenment. In fact, quite the opposite. It is the reason we practice, to rid ourselves of suffering, right? So remember that, because what he's trying to do here is to, even in his exile, inspire his student to not despair, that good will come of this, right? What's the modern saying that would equate to make an omelet you have to break a few eggs? I mean, it's really, that sounds silly, but that's really what this is. This is Nichiren saying, relax, relax. He lived in the 13th century shogunate in Japan. I mean, it's like living in Arabia today. You do something wrong, they cut your hands off, or kill you, right? I mean, it's severe. So every time Nichiren would get exiled or punished, and we're not talking here about, just some people, some Nembutsu practitioners who just want to beat him up. We're talking about the government, really coming down on him. So yeah, his followers like, are we going to ever see you again? Are you going to be able to help, teach us? They were worried for his very life and their own Buddhist practice. So this is a letter of encouragement. This is a letter using the scholarship of Buddhist sutras with all its hyperbole and storytelling methodology to say, look, it's not just me telling you not to worry. Look at the history of Buddhism. This happens constantly. So be confident. This too shall pass, right? I mean, that's my goal here in reading these things for you, is to kind of peer through what can swallow you up in its mystical sounding nature, because we have so much of that in our environment, and just see through to the plain communication here in the teaching. So I hope you understand that. And this is a brief one, so maybe I'll just turn around and start reading the next one real quick. We'll leave that for another video, though, so we can maintain some order here. All right. Thank you for participating. If you have questions, please dump them in the comments. Let me know. Let me know what I didn't explain well, or something that maybe you thought of in the midst of this and thought, well, what about that? It doesn't have to be about this video. Just ask me some questions, and I'll address them as best I can, either in the comments, or we can share emails, or hell, you might ask a question that's so inspiring for me to do the research on that I'll make a whole nother video about it. So let's do this together, all right? Talk to you soon. Namo Myoho Renge Kyo.